Chatted to one of the most powerful players, actually, in both the manufacturing sector and indeed in the energy market. He's the Ineos boss, multi-billionaire Jim Ratcliffe. And I asked him about how vulnerable Britain is to running out of gas this winter, especially as we're so dependent on shipments in tankers of liquefied or LNG gas. As I say, though, I started by asking how long the record gas prices we're paying will continue.
Well, I think it's quite difficult to predict how long this sort of current situation is going to last. But you know, I suppose if you're a betting man, you'd assume it would probably run through at least through the winter, because obviously our gas demand increases in the winter. I mean, the reason that we're seeing these sort of prices that we've never seen before at the moment is clearly because there's a gas shortage in the UK and the price has spiked as a result.
You're a huge manufacturer of sort of chemicals of all sorts. How painful is this for you?
Well, it's sort of been relatively recent, so we haven't seen the full impact of it yet. Our business has had a sort of very unusual year because it's been much better than we anticipated, and we didn't really predict that, I have to say. So our markets have been quite tight. We've sold product well this year, so there is, you know, because of that, because there's such huge demand for our products, there is an ability to pass some of these energy prices on, but not everywhere. And we haven't seen the full effect of the energy prices yet. But I know we have one facility in the UK which is going to lose 25 million next month. And we're clearly not going to live with that for very long. And
so do you have sympathy with other energy-intensive businesses that sort of claim this is an absolute disaster? It sounds to me as though maybe you think some of them are trying it on.
No, I don't think so. You can't run a business where, you know, one day the price of energy is, you know, 50p a therm, and the next day it's 250p a therm. And at the moment, the gas prices in the UK are 6 times higher than America. So if you're trying to compete on the international circuit, you're not going to be competing terribly well with our American colleagues. So no, there's some very real issues, I think, if you're. I mean, you think about a lot of UK industry is in manufacturing terms, is energy dependent, because all the industries which were labour dependent, they disappeared 30 or 40 years ago, like textiles and things like that. So a lot of the industry we've got left, you know, they are energy consumers.
So is this an area where you would want the government to intervene and provide support?
Well, I think I'm not a fan of sort of government support as such, but it shouldn't be necessary. But I think gas is a very strategic and important requirement for the UK economy, and they need to ensure that the UK economy can't be held to ransom because we haven't organised our gas situation very well.
Because you were looking at building a storage facility a few years ago. There was also this massive row about Rough. Have we made a mistake? Did the governments at the time make a mistake in not making sure there was storage capacity?
We have very little storage in the UK.
Whose fault is that? Is that the private sector or is that the government?
Yeah, that's government. That's a strategic issue for, you know, energy supplies in the UK. You need some storage. And we've got 10-day storage. Is a bit pathetic, really, for a nation as important as the UK. On the continent, they've got 40 or 50-day storage. So that was a strategic error by the government. We should have made sure we kept storage. Yeah, 4 years ago, when we had if you remember, the beast from the east, we were within a day or two of running out of gas in the UK. If we had run out of gas, it would have been a disaster for, the older people who couldn't get heating in the house, for industry, which would have had to shut down. But we were within days. And we did make that point. We were, in fact, Tom Crossie, one of our guys, was on Radio 4 and did mention it and was, excuse my French, but given a bollocking by the government for bringing the subject up. So, yeah, no, it is a government issue, in my view, yeah.
And just to be clear, what you're also saying is if we have a very cold winter, we could find ourselves in that position again of being out of gas. I mean, so this idea, which the government keeps putting out, that there's no danger of the lights going off, that's a load of old rubbish.
Well, you'd have to outbid China and the Asians for the there's only a limited amount of gas you can get from the European market or from the North Sea, so you're absolutely dependent on bringing LNG in, and you're going to have to pay whatever the price is in the marketplace for that if you can get hold of it.
But just on the specific point, because this is something that really matters to people, we are vulnerable as a nation. We don't have enough storage of gas, and therefore if you had a real sharp winter, very cold temperatures, we could run out.
Yeah, in which case then, what you would do is you'd shut down industry. Which
would be a catastrophe.
Economically, I mean, we're in a bad place as it is after COVID, so you don't really need to be shutting industry down. And that's not great for British industry if we were telling all our customers we can't supply them.
Now, there's no way, therefore, to get through this. We're just going to have to take our chances this winter.
Yeah, correct. I don't think there's much gas in storage at the moment. The North Sea, you're not going to produce any more in the North Sea, and Europe's not in a great place itself because of the Russian situation. I mean, honestly, we don't really want to be overly dependent on Russia for gas.
Sort of finally, you'll have seen, I know you're in Switzerland, but you'll have seen that over here, for quite a few weeks, drivers haven't been able to get petrol. It ran out. There's a risk of running out of gas. What is it that government has done wrong that's made us so vulnerable to these supply shocks?
I'm not sure I can comment on the petrol one because I'm not that close.
But is there a problem with forward planning and recognising potential risks?
Well, I mean, it's the way, if you think about the way, I mean, Ineos, which I run, is a very large business, and I spend all my time thinking about what might or might not happen in the future and try to be prepared for issues that come up. And, the gas is an obvious one in the UK. We've got enough sensible, intelligent people in our country to manage those things well. I mean, we run businesses well. There's no reason we can't run those things well.
But do you ever meet any of those people in government, sensible people who think for the long term?
No, not so often in the UK. The UK has always been, it's always been a bit closer to financial services than manufacturing. So I tend to meet more people on the continent about manufacturing issues than I do in the UK.
Well, that, for many people, will be a slightly sort of despondent and depressing thought to leave us with. But thank you very much for talking to us. Good to see you as always.
OK, cheers.